Welcome to the Community Spotlight podcast. Today's guest is Dave Riedel from the village of New Washington, and he's here to speak with us about the Veterans Memorial Park project, which is taking place up in New Washington. Glad to meet you, Dave.
Glad to meet you, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're more than welcome. One thing is I don't get a block on your name because when you have two Daves together, I mean, what bad could happen if you have two Daves together?
Right. You can't miss it, right?
Yeah, you can't miss it. Now, can you just enlighten us, this Veterans Memorial Park project, for a lot of people, they may have driven through the village in New Washington and they see the mural up there where it's at now. But kind of how did all this get started, and give us a little brief history, kind of what's happened.
Very good. I grew up in New Washington and I moved away for 40 years. I was in the military for over 20, and then I worked at the Pentagon for another 15, and then I retired in 2019. And we moved back home. Now I live on the farm that I grew up near New Washington.
Oh.
My wife is from Shelby Settlement area, so we both went to Buckeye Central. So when we got back home, I noticed that Bucyrus, Plymouth, Bloomville, and especially Attica had Veterans Memorial Parks. And I kind of wondered why we couldn't have one in New Washington. We have a lot of veterans in New Washington. My dad was a veteran, my son's active duty. I said, why couldn't we have a park? So I talked to the village, and luckily there was an empty lot right across from the gazebo with an empty wall along the library. And I said this would be an ideal spot for a Veterans Memorial Park. And the village council agreed. They gave the lot to the project, and we went forward from there. And like you talked about, the mural on the side of the library was our first part, and we can talk about that in a second.
I was going to say, now, the location of this is basically on the corner of, that's why I'm looking down on my paper, West Mansfield Street in New Washington, and it's a Kibler Street, right? North Kibler?
Right.
Okay, because I've seen it. I've driven through there. So we talked about when this got started, whatever. Kind of what are the goals of the Veterans Park?
Yeah, the three driving goals that we have are remember, honor, and teach. And by remembering, I want people to remember that our freedom isn't free. There's a lot of veterans that sacrificed a lot, like the mural says, all gave some and some gave all. And the second thing, for honoring, we want to honor the local veterans, both past and present. And then the third part is to teach, and we'd like to teach the young adults and the students in the area what a veteran is and what it means to have that legacy in New Washington.
That's a very good point, because we're getting further and further away. My father, he passed a number of years ago. He was a World War II veteran. A lot of our World War II veterans are gone, or they were getting close to the end of a lot of them, I would say, still being around and alive. We still have some from the Korean. We still have Vietnam and the Desert Storm and what. I understand that, but every time we lose these groups over time, it's just a natural thing. Sometimes I always say people forget that sacrifice that was made then, because people have no idea what World War II was about, that era was different. You know, things were rationed. We rationed things like sugar and that, and people, they look at it, well, why did you do that, or rubber, or things like this. There was just a whole things that comes from each era and time and each conflict that takes place. So it's very important to teach for those that they never went through it.
Yeah, and especially the Vietnam veterans.
Yes.
My focus is really that they appreciate this, and it's something that they're proud of, because they weren't treated right, and they do deserve a lot more than what we gave them. But we still have one World War II veteran in our Legion, and we have a couple Korean left, but it's mainly now Vietnam veterans that are around. So I want to make them proud of this project.
Absolutely. And I like what you're doing there, because, again, it's keeping the memory of this alive, because if you don't remember what happens, that's how we get into jams as a country, and our people get into this. They get so self-centered, and they don't realize just what you said, the sacrifice that was paid. There's a bloody sacrifice that took place. Some gave, like you said, their total life. Others maybe were wounded, but it always costs you something.
Right. It's not all just physical wounds, too.
No. No.
And for the teaching part, we're going to have a plaque next to most of the items in the park, and on that plaque will be a description of the items. So anything from the flagpoles to the granite monuments, and on that plaque it'll be a short explanation, and then somebody can take their phone, and there'll actually be a QR code down at the bottom, and they can take their phone, and that will link them to our website. And then on that website there'll be many links for that information. Let's say they want to know more about the Air Force. They go to the website, and there'll be 5 or 6 links there about the Air Force Academy, the reserves, all those kind of things, so they can learn more if they want to from different items within the park.
Wow. I'll tell you, this sounds like a tremendous project. How would somebody that wants to get involved in this, how would they get involved?
Luckily, we're working through the Community Foundation for Crawford County.
Okay.
And within them is a project. Part of it's called Projects Inc., and our fund is within Projects Inc., and they handle our money as a 501c3, and they pay the invoices and all that, so we don't have to get into the money part.
The administration
so the foundation
of it,
takes
yeah.
care of that. So if somebody wants to donate, it goes to the Community Foundation for Crawford County under Projects Inc., and then under Projects Inc. is our New Washington Veterans Memorial Park Fund.
Okay.
So they can drop off a check at the foundation, they can mail it to them, or if they want more information, they can contact me, and my email is dave.riedel@verizon.net, and that's RIEDEL. And I'll be glad to send them information on how to donate if they'd like to. They can also go on the foundation's website and donate electronically.
Yeah, well, everybody's got a different way. The main thing is give.
Right.
That's what I would say to people is give to this. Now, what's your goal? You have a financial goal? Most people have goals. So.
We do, and unfortunately it had to be bumped up because of the cost of
everything's just went up.
Everything went up, about tripled what we had originally thought. Right now our goal is about $330,000. We've already raised over $220,000. So just an amazing giving community around New Washington, and many businesses also have donated. We've got a lot of support. We've gotten a few grants. We're still applying for some more grants, but we're looking for that last $100,000 to get us across the home plate. So if people would like to give, we certainly appreciate it.
Well, I'll give a little plug here because I can say, we are getting towards the end of the year. You might want to consider this if maybe you've had a good year economically and you need to do a little more donating than you normally do. This would be a very worthwhile project to take a look at for your donation dollar, so to speak.
And the veterans from the Washington area would really appreciate the support.
Yes. What I like about this is you're keeping the memory of those that sacrificed alive, and that needs to be always out there because we should always remember those that made the sacrifice.
And 1.2, anyone that donates will be recognized at the dedication program, and also their name will be on the back fence of the program or the park. Everybody that donates will have their name listed, so it doesn't matter what you donate at whatever level, we'll have your name up on the plaque, so everybody can be recognized for their donations.
Well, it's a community project. Really, it's a county. It's really it's heartwarming to see this. And like I said, I can only speak from my personal experience with my father. When I see so many, like you said, our World War II ones, a lot of them are gone now, and a lot of the Korean guys now, they're in their 90s. So, 90 years of age, a lot of them up in there. So you're right. And so, these things are passing, but it's a way to carry this on to really get people to think about the sacrifice, because sacrifice is key to anything to moving it forward. I had a conversation with someone just actually yesterday, and I said, a lot of people, they think about, the now. But there's things and contributions you make, and I'm sure you've thought about this and what you're doing, and your fellow people doing this. 100 years from you, none of the people that contributed to this will be around. It's probably see that they contributed. But it goes on. It will carry on. And that in itself is kind of a wonderful thing. And it won't be forgotten, and our veterans should not be forgotten. Again, anything further you'd like to say, Dave, or you think we pretty much covered it?
I think we covered most of it. I appreciate the the opportunity to talk with you.
Well, it's an honor to have you on, Dave.
Well, thank you.
And I was going to say, Dave Riedel, he's heading this up along with a whole lot of other people, because I know he's not the type to take credit for himself. It's a whole team that's involved in this at the New Washington Veterans Memorial Park Project. And let's just one last time, again, if they want to contribute, who do they go through? Got to make the sale.
The Community Foundation for Crawford County. You can either go on their website and donate electronically, or you can drop a check off at their office in Bucyrus. Make the checks out to Projects Inc., and in the memo line, just put NW for New Washington Veterans Memorial Park Fund. And if anybody needs more information, contact me at dave.riedel@verizon.net. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
All right. And again, if you missed something during the podcast, guess what? You can go back and listen to it again. So thanks again to Dave Riedel from New Washington for coming over and enlightening our listeners as to the New Washington Veterans Memorial Park Project. I wish you the best, and the people that are working on this, the best on this. I think it's a very worthy thing. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity, and God bless the veterans.
All right, and thank you for your service to our nation.
Thank you.